Hi again, friends. Welcome back to our series exploring key machine learning concepts through the metaphor of our journey to find love. In our first episode, we began with self awareness, the foundational dimension in both healing and modeling. Today, we move into the second dimension, self love. As we mentioned in our self awareness video, the concept of dimensions describe the attributes characterizing the data used in machine learning models. We shall explore self-love through one of the most powerful ML algorithms, XGBoost. What is XGBoost? XGBoost combines multiple weak models, namely decision trees, to form a stronger, high-performing model. This is called boosting. Each new tree learns from the errors of the previous one, correcting it gently, step by step. This mirrors our emotional growth. Just like XGBoost strengthens a model one tree at a time, self-love emerges gradually as we correct misbeliefs, heal inner wounds, and learn to trust ourselves through challenges. How decision trees work, and why they're like our inner beliefs. We use decision trees when outcomes depend on multiple features like how age and gender might interact in behavioral data. These models work through branches, conditions, and nodes, decisions. But trees are sensitive to impurity, misclassification, and entropy, disorder. The more chaotic the data, the harder it is to reach meaningful insights. For example, a procrastinator might self-blame when in truth the root cause is overwhelm and nervous system dysregulation. A person who overspends may say, "I'm just enjoying life," but deep down they might feel unworthy of saving or abundance. When decision trees misinterpret these patterns, the model suffers, but XGBoost keeps going, each new tree heals the one before it. Building the forest of self-love. Let's revisit the self-awareness model from our first episode as the base learner. It begins with a belief like, "What's done is done." This sounds forgiving, but if you still judge yourself for past decisions, there's residual error. So the next tree arises, self-acceptance, embracing your imperfections without shame. Still, something may be missing. You might need a warmer lens, a deeper tenderness toward your younger self, and so self-compassion grows. Then comes self-care, nourishing your needs with the same devotion you've given others, followed by self-respect, setting boundaries and upholding your standards with quiet strength. And finally, self-trust, a calm, confident sense that you've got this, no matter what life throws at you. Each step corrects the last. Fewer and fewer errors remain, just like XGBoost, a series of trees, each one refining, strengthening, completing the one before. Model parameters and what they teach us. So how do we build this XGBoost model in practice? We start by defining the objective. Use binary logistic if you're asking, "Do I trust myself? Yes or no?" Use reg.squareDerror if you're asking, "How much do I trust myself in this situation?" Next come key hyperparameters. Learning rate. How intensely must life teach us before we learn? Max depth. How deep do we go in our introspection? N estimators. How many layers of healing are we willing to explore? Subsample and cull sample by tree. What fraction of features do we train on? Are we addressing the full self or selected aspects? Regi alpha, lasso, drop irrelevant self-criticisms. Reg lambda, ridge, keep all traits, but balance their weight. Dataset, training and evaluation. In our journey towards self-love, dataset preparation requires reflecting over our core beliefs, feelings, moments of pride, regrets, frustrations, and behavioral patterns we develop and exhibit over ourselves. We shall use the same dataset we used in our self-awareness journey. Therefore, the data cleaning and feature engineering stages we went through in our previous video remain the same. However, a question still arises: how do we see self-love? As a classification or a regression? Classification requires our introspection and accountability. Do I trust myself in such challenge? Have I given the same attention to my needs as I focused on those of others? Regression leads to our own predictions of how we are going to act within a moment. Will I be able to forgive myself if it doesn't work out and honor my courage for trying? Will I have the heart to finally book some time off for myself? Now that we got our model, the next stage is to define our data set. Depending on what model we opted for, we choose between make classification and make stot regression. Make classification. What are my perceived flaws, regrets, or other issues I hold against myself, preventing me to see whatever I have to offer? Make stot regression. How will self-love look like for me? As we learned in our previous video, we work with the following parameters: N samples, N features, N informative, noise, random state. N samples refers to synthetic data. Our knowledge of ourselves does not only include our direct experience, such as it may arise when listening to dilemmas of others, or when sympathizing or disapproving of the choices made by characters we grew fond of in books or movies. Visualizing ourselves in such circumstances and contemplating over how we would act highlights the valuable insights the concept of synthetic data may reveal of ourselves. So think of synthetic data as scenarios that help us access or strengthen our knowledge of self. In machine learning, synthetic data teaches the model what scenarios it is likely to deal with, or the N feature parameters and what features it should consider and prioritize, or the N informative parameter, as well as what data to ignore, or the noise. Finally, through its random state, synthetic data highlights the extent to which the conclusions reached within one circumstance can be transferred to the others. Then we train, test, split, to ensure we're not just repeating patterns, but actually evolving. Model training, FIT, implies applying what we've learned: self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-care, self-respect, and self-trust. In the training phase, we are also recommended to use the K-fold cross-validation tests, your consistency across different sub-data sets. In everyday life, how does self-acceptance or self-trust operate in various settings, such as work, friendship, romance, or other areas? Model testing implies seeing how those truths hold up in the real world, be it in work, in love, in solitude. We evaluate using metrics like R squared. How much of my patterns can I now explain? MSE. How heavily do I punish myself for mistakes? MAE. Is there still subtle emotional pain I haven't healed? Precision and recall. Am I noticing and meeting my needs consistently? Overfitting and missing data. XGBoost prevents overfitting, or models that adapt too much to others and lose their own core. That's like a person who changes personality in every relationship. And it handles missing data gracefully, using sparsity-aware split finding meaning. Even if there are gaps in your story, you can still grow. Do we always need XGBoost? No, sometimes a simple model is enough. But when you're ready to perform at your best, to grow through challenge and correction, XGBoost offers a roadmap not just to better models, but to deeper healing.